My name is Ginny Lovitt, and I'm the executive director of the Chris Atwood Foundation, which is a nonprofit in Northern Virginia that is working to address the opioid overdose crisis, primarily through doing Naloxone trainings called Revive trainings, and increasing access to Naloxone throughout the state of Virginia. We do a lot of advocacy for better policies to make it more affordable, to make it more accessible to people who need it. The reason why I'm doing this, why we started the Chris Atwood Foundation, why overdose reversal is my big passion and the driving mission of the foundation is because my little brother died of a heroin overdose in 2013. He'd been in treatment for 30 days, which was not long enough for him, and he just got a little bit of treatment, and then really what happened is his tolerance went way down, and then he immediately relapsed after treatment, and it was fatal. And he knew, he was really smart about it. He did all of his research. He was really into the neuroscience of everything. And he knew his tolerance was going to be down, so a lot of people will go back to using the same dose that they used before, thinking that that's still okay, and that is a huge issue. Then you want to check for breathing. And the way to do that is you want to tilt their head back to open up the airways, just in case things are constricted. And then you're going to put your cheek over their mouth, not touching, but just hovering over, just like that. And that puts you in the position where you can do three things. You can look to see if their chest is rising or falling. You can feel if there's breath coming out. And you can also listen for the sound of breathing. So in that position, you're going to be looking, listening, and feeling for breath. You want to just do that for maybe 10 seconds or so if you're not detecting anything, or maybe the chest is rising up, but it's very slow. Maybe there's sounds of ragged breath, any kind of signs of abnormal breathing. You'll go ahead and administer the Naloxone, even if they are somewhat responsive. If they're struggling to breathe, we give Naloxone. If they're not responding, we give Naloxone. So in order to do that, there's actually 3 different ways that we can administer Naloxone. This is the oldest method, and it was the only thing out there for a while. And it is actually retrofitted from a Lure jet syringe is what it's called, to be made into a nasal spray using this little device here, this little white cone, which is called a nasal atomizer. So to put it together, and then this would be the vial of Naloxone, but this is just water for training purposes. So to put it together, you would take off the brightly colored caps from the syringe, then you take the atomizer, and that twists right on top, and you've got these wingtips on either side that help you to twist that in and make sure it's snug. And then you take the cap off of the vial of Naloxone. And that blue stopper in there is threaded, and the inside of the syringe is threaded, and it has a needle on the inside. So it's better for people that are not trained with needles or are uncomfortable with them. You don't even really have to see it if you're not looking. And then it twists together like that. The needle punctures through the stopper. And if you twist too hard, you may have just seen, you'll get a little bit out the top. If you do see a bead of water or a little bit, that's fine. In the real situation, this would be Naloxone. You don't want to waste any of it, so make sure you're not pushing as you're twisting. Just twisting 2 twists of the wrists is usually good. And this is what you're going to want to get, is this mist. So a lot of people will ask, because this is a nasal spray, well, if they're not breathing, how are they going to inhale the medication, right? It's not an inhalant. It is absorbed through the nasal mucus membrane. So that's why you want to get that mist, because it's going to hit more of the surface area of that nasal mucus membrane. So you don't want to be pushing too slow and getting kind of a dribble effect, because then it can come back out. So you want to push hard enough to get that mist. And when you're ready to assemble it, or to administer it, again, you'll tilt the head back, and you will administer half up one nostril and half up the other with a good amount of force. And it doesn't have to be exact half and half. It's just in case one nostril is a little more open than the other. We just want to get approximately half up both nostrils. So again, firmly inserted up there, half up one nostril and half up the next. Any questions about that? That's one dose.